Time to introduce a set of rules. Let's call them the 5 unbreakable rules for 5Y, which we developed at Infineon a few years ago. In the context of an AT problem-solving method, you always make sure to have a problem statement worked out and your team agrees to it. Remember, a problem statement is the object and defect, or the question, what is wrong with what, that helps you here. See, in this rule 1, this problem statement is also needed for a 5Y. Not having one will guarantee endless discussions and likely cause more work due to an unspecific scope. It's your 5Y charter. Make sure it's available and make sure it is stable. The second rule, at least know the point of course. Best would be to know both the point of course and the occurrence technical course. Remember, I mentioned that to you that you need the technical course in the prerequisites for a 5Y. And come to think about it, where do you go and who do you ask without knowing the point of course? Usually, a technical occurrence can be verified through observation, so go and see for yourself. In the Six Sigma toolset, this is known as the Gemba walk. Let's look into the simplified production flow to understand the point of course approach. In the second process step, some input parameters are causing a non-conformity that end up at the customer of the finished product. Well, that's not a good idea. The point of course is that second process step, and the experts that need to find the occurrence root cause are the ones working right there. These are the ones you need in your team. Let's add some process controls and look for the detection gates. The further you detach your scope from the point of course, the bigger your verification efforts will get. Rather than starting at the final gate, a thought that is very common but in general leads to expensive corrective actions. Look for the first escape point right after the process step where the non-conformity occurred. This is an important detail. Can the problem be detected there? And then slowly move down to uncover all potential escape points. This way, you keep the following process steps after the one that caused the non-conformity free from non-conforming material. Once you have your escape points, you have your starting point for the escape root cause path in the 5Y. Rule number 3 is all about people. As we have seen, different problems need different teams. 5Y is about asking the right questions to the right people. So make sure you have the right team members. While the understanding of the technical root causes and the escape root cause is focusing more on the correction of the problem, the understanding of the systemic root causes for occurrence and escape is more on learning. For the first, you need working level team members. For the second, you need to reach out to the management level. And please remember, systemic root causes require the support from your management. Talking about questioning technique, questions should always be simple and should always be clear. Opening questions to get information and closing questions to verify them. It requires some moderation skills to steer a team through a 5Y. And that brings me to a fundamental principle of the 5Y tool. Always stay on the process path. Reject personal answers and descriptions as best as you can. Not he caused the problem or she made a mistake. You are looking for root causes, not shallow causes. For that, it is best to keep in mind that people do not fail, but processes do. These supporting questions that you see on the screen will help you stay on track. What would have been right, and where does it say so? They are so simple, and yet they are so powerful. Rule number 4. Only data and facts are allowed in the 5Y tool. The development and verification of hypotheses was done in the earlier section of the discipline D4, before we entered the 5Y. Again, moderation skills and careful listening is required. If no evidence can be shown to back the given statements, then stop and request exactly that. 5Y is not a guessing game. The last one of the 5 unbreakable rules is about the cause and effect chain in the 5Y tool. Each Y has to have a direct causal relation towards the following Y. When phrased to a question, each following Y should contain the answer to the previous Y question. Why was the gas tank empty? Because there is a hole in the tank. And by assuring these direct interrelations between the Ys, the chain holds in both directions, up as well as down. Always apply the therefore check to test if the chain is stable or if something is missing. There is a hole in the tank, therefore the gas tank is empty. So, here they are. Now you know the 5 unbreakable rules for the correct 5Y usage. A clear and agreed problem statement, the point of cause, or best the point of cause as well as the occurrence technical cause. You have your right team members in place. You only use data and facts. And you build up direct interrelations in your cause and effect chain. We talked about the occurrence cause and the escape cause now for quite a bit. Let's spend some time on the systemic causes. I would like you to read the sentence in the box text, as it describes the systemic root cause very well. The systemic root cause creates the boundary conditions for technical root causes to happen or to go unnoticed. Management power and strategy is needed to address these topics. This is why sometimes you find systemic root causes referred to as management root causes. It's not because your management is at fault, but it's because they have the power and they influence the strategy to get these causes addressed. Typically, we see 3 areas that point to systemic causes. It would be management target setting, decisions, strategy, or maybe priority. The next big field are processes, procedures, and rules. And another big area is knowledge management, or better, lack of knowledge, and risk management. These are the 3 areas that you see a lot of systemic root causes to be clustered. Since we are coming from the technical side of the 5Y tool and want to cross over to the systemic side, when do you know that we reached that level? One way to see this, for example, when dealing with the cause and effect category men, is to look for clues like not known, forgotten, or maybe not aware. These are good triggers that help you understand that you are now reaching the systemic level. You can continue reading the page. For material, it would be something like ineffective incoming inspections, or maybe a missing spec. For method, it could be as simple as wrong or incomplete, or maybe a missing rule, and so forth. And that brings me to a definition of a systemic root cause. Have you ever seen the definition for systemic root causes? Here is one, and it will provide an easy answer for you when you were asked, as well as make sure you see the difference between the two yourself. The systemic root cause is in general a definition error. It is a mistake or it is a weakness in a definition, like a description or a work instruction or a quality manual. An occurrence root cause, on the other side, is an execution error. It is an error related to the application or to the use of that definition. It is the use of the definition or that very work instruction. And if you see it this way, the occurrence root cause can be seen as a consequence of the systemic root cause.